welcome back to my channel. My name is Maggie. Today I have a Pan That / Every palette update for you. So I will link my intro video from the beginning of January for you so you can hear kind of my whole spiel and what I'm trying to do. But yeah, I have some good progress for you today. I'm very excited. We will be rolling in a new palette, so lots of fun things to talk about. I'm going to start with my Pan That palette, which is the ABH Sultry palette. And from doing my intro, I learned that there's quite a few people panning the Sultry palette this year, which is really fun. It's always nice to get like input on looks and kind of hear what other people are experiencing. I had quite a bit of progress on my palette already. I had pan in most of the shades. I did declutter a couple, so I will put on the screen here what it looked like at the beginning of January. And this is what my palette is looking like now. So I don't have any new pans. I have not hit pan on any new shades. I haven't finished any shades, but I did get good use on things. I have been keeping track of how many times I use each shade in this palette, so I want to go through kind of shade by shade and talk through that. So the first one here is Pearl, which is the shimmery kind of champagne shade. I use this as my inner corner. I was able to clear out this top corner of the product, so now it's just here. I could use this up very quickly, I'm sure, just by putting it all over the lid. And I did do one look like that where I had a brown crease and the pearl shade all over my lid. But I like it as an inner corner shade quite a bit. And I also like to use it as a layering shade, like if something gets a little dark or I want to brighten up the center of the lid, that's kind of my go-to shade. So I do plan to finish it up, of course. I'm not like saving it forever, but I'm not in a super rush to finish it up either. So I did use Pearl 24 times this month, pretty much every time I wore makeup. I didn't keep track of how many times I actually did my eyeshadow, but I would assume it was probably 24 times. Okay, next here is Steampunk. This is kind of the antiqued gold. I already had pan on that. I do think it has expanded just a little bit. I used Steampunk 9 times this month. I have used it on the lid, and I've also used it on the lower lash line quite a bit. I did really enjoy having a little bit of a gold lower lash line. Rose Quartz has a nice dip going in it, but no pan yet. And I ended up using Rose Quartz 4 times. I do have it on my lower lash line today because I kind of did a pinkier lid look. So this one is, you know, going slowly. I have another pink eyeshadow in my project right now that I'll show you here in a minute. So I think that's kind of why I've been leaning towards that other one. And then I'll always have this one to go back to. And I do prefer this color actually. So that's okay for me. Ember, I use, let's see here, 15 times. This is kind of like deeper, almost like a green brown. I use this on the outer third of my eye. So a lot of the looks that I do, kind of where I deepen up a little bit, that is what I'm using. I just use a little bit. So I do have a dip in there, but it's going to take me a while to actually hit pan because I don't use that much. It's pretty impactful for me. But because I've been using Ember in that way, I really haven't touched Cinder or Teak, which I can also use in that way. So these two have 0 uses on them. I do really like Cinder all over the lid as well. I just didn't do any looks like that. But Teak I would use interchangeably with Ember, so I haven't used Teak at all. Okay. Birch here on the corner is a nice kind of warm brown matte. I did have pan on it before. I do think it's expanded just a little bit. I used Birch 17 times, so it was kind of my go-to crease color. It's been that way for a while. If I don't know what eye look I'm going to do, I always start with Birch, and then figure it out from there. I pair Birch and Twig together quite a bit, so Birch is a little bit more warm toned, where Twig is a little bit more cool toned. But I really like them mixed together. I like the depth that it provides. So I also use Twig 17 times. I pretty much always pair those two together. Okay, Dystopian and Noir, the two what I would consider liner shades for myself. I did not use at all. I have other eyeshadows that I want to focus on for liners. So I'm not sure that I'll really use those a ton in this project, but they are here. You know, if I were to travel and just bring this palette, then I would use them, of course. And the last shade to update you on is Cyborg, which is the shimmery silver, and I used that 2 times this month. And that is it for the month for my Sultry palette. I'm very happy with where I'm at. Obviously nothing major has happened. I do foresee using Pearl Up by the end of March. And again, if I want to go more aggressive with it, I can, and I'm sure I can get done sooner, but not in the biggest rush. I definitely would like to see pan and rose quartz soon. That one has like the biggest dip of the three here that I don't have pan on. Rose quartz is the deepest dip. So I do hope to have rose quartz have pan in it. You know, February is Valentine's, and I feel like I'm just more drawn to wearing a lot of pink looks. I think I can incorporate it with the other pink eyeshadows I have kind of going right now. So that's going to be a focus shade for me in the month as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to put real quick one more time the comparison photos so you can see them and the little change in progress I have in the pans, but nothing too major. All right, let's get into the pan in every palette portion of this. So at the beginning of January, I rolled in 2 eyeshadow palettes with the goal to hit pan in 1 shade from each palette. So I have my first one I did actually hit pan on, which is very exciting. So I have the ABH Soft Glam 2 palette. By the way, this is an awesome travel palette if you were looking for one. And I focused on the shade Dreamer, which is this kind of like light, I would call this like in between a champagne gold and a gold. It's really pretty on the lid. I absolutely love the tone of it. Sometimes golds get a little bit too deep for me, but this one I did not have any problems with. So I do have officially a new pan there. Hopefully you're seeing that show up here, but I'm very, very happy about that. So now I have 3 pans in this little palette. I have Tempera, Dreamer, and Noir, which is awesome. And yeah, I pretty much used it on the lid. Like I didn't do anything too crazy with it, but it was a good go-to shade for every day or like very quick looks. Because of the tone of that gold shade, I really liked it with the birch and twig crease combination. So yeah, I wasn't surprised. I thought that for sure this would happen before my other one, but I was a little bit surprised to see that it happened in January. I was expecting to not hit pan on anything in January, and maybe like February I would, but already hit pan. So it took me 15 uses to hit pan and Dreamer. I had used it prior though, and I don't know how many times, just 15 uses since it's been in this project. So this palette is officially rolling out, and we will roll something in its place to replace it today. But I'm very happy that I got some more dedicated use out of that palette. So the second palette that I've been working on is actually a quad of singles. This is from Anastasia. These are for ABH singles that, you know, you can get these cases. And so I already have pan in pink champagne here. So I have 3 shades to choose from. Both of these mattes are very densely packed and they're giant. These are 1.7 grams, so they're pretty big for eyeshadows. I mean, I think that's probably standard for singles, but for palettes, these would be considered big. So that means that my focus shade has been this one, which is Ballet. And I do have a good dip in there going. I do think that I can hit pan in it in February. Trying to just kind of wiggle it around so maybe you can tell the depth of it. But it is definitely like a set spot where I'm putting my brush. I'm definitely focusing it there. It does help that I have pan in pink champagne so I can like compare them. You know, how deep am I getting? So I do think that I'm getting close. I used Ballet 8 times and I did use it today. I typically use it all over the lid. With these 2 in the crease. It's like a very nice little pinky quad I have here. Today I did just use my finger and press a little bit of pink champagne on top for a little more sparkle. But yeah, Ballet is going to be still in here as my focus shade, but it's timely. You know, with Valentine's, I'm very happy that I have kind of a purpley pink palette that I can use and focus on. So yeah, that's why I was saying rose quartz for my Sultry palette does pair nicely with this one. I do prefer the rose quartz. So I'm just trying to kind of get my uses out of here and roll this one out eventually. So this will be staying in. I do then have a pan percentage update. I just hit pan in the 1 shade, the Dreamer shade this month. No other pans in my collection, but that means that I went up from 17 eyeshadows in my collection to 18 with pan. So now I have 18 out of 120 like powder eyeshadows, which means my pan percentage increased to 15%, which I'm really happy about. Certainly over the year, that's going to fluctuate. Like if I finish up Pearl for my Sultry palette, then I'd be down to 119 and I would lose that pan. So it definitely will fluctuate throughout the year. I would love to get it to 20%, but if I don't reach 20%, I don't really care. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just happy to be past 10%. I think that's a good place for me to be. But I'm very, very pleased that I was able to already increase that and roll one of these palettes out. So let's get into the exciting part and picking my new palette. So on my spreadsheet here, I have my palettes 2 through 6. So I have 5 to choose from, and I am going to randomize it. Let me make sure all my history is cleared. Okay, so I have 2 through 6 in here, and we're gonna get palette number 3. So let's see what that is. Okay, that is my Natasha Denona Mini Retro palette. So this is pretty new to me. I got this in November. I know because I brought this on my Thanksgiving trip with me to Germany. So this has like definitely some nice neutrals in here. I like the shimmery green more than I ever thought I would. This matte kind of khaki green or army green is pretty. It's definitely not something I'm going to be hitting pan on immediately though. But I do have another kind of pink shimmery shade in here, and also this gold kind of shimmery shade. So I would guess that between these two, that'll be my focus. I've never hit pan on a Natasha Denona palette before. I don't know how deep the pans are. Here's swatches of the two. So the pink is up on the top and the gold is right below it. Both are really, really pretty. The gold has a little bit more like of a glitter to it, and it does pick up a little bit of like a green in the right lighting. Like, it has a little bit of a shift. I wouldn't call it a full-on duochrome, but it just got a little shift there. So I don't know which one, I'll end up hitting pan in, but this will be the new one that I'm working on. I definitely do not think that I'll have pan in this in the next month. I would love to see pan out of this quad in the next month because I do think I'm close on ballet, but this one might be in for a while. This one might be like a few months of the year, but that's okay with me. I think it's really pretty, so I'm not worried about it. And that's the whole point, is to get some more use out of my palettes and rotate through. I also think that this will pair nicely with my Sultry palette. It's kind of some of the same tones, some of the same vibe. I think some of these greens will work well with Ember because it has just a little bit of a green tinge to it. So yeah, looking forward to that. I'll officially bring this palette in, and we'll see what kind of work I can make on my ABH quad and my Sultry palette in the next month. So that is going to be it for me for this update. I'd love to hear how your first month of the new year went with your panning challenges and what you guys have chosen. If you are panning a palette, please let me know so I can check it out. I think that panning palettes is really fun. It's a lot of work and dedication, but it's a really fun, satisfying video series for me to watch. So let me know how I can, track your progress along either this platform or Instagram. But that's going to be it for me. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.